The tech industry is thriving at the moment, and everyone wants to get in on the action. In our new world, the old ways of working are quickly disappearing. The sharing economy, robotics, AI, and automation have redefined complete industries and are redefining the way many other industries operate. Technology really is becoming woven into the very fabric of the world, and it's the perfect time to start to consider a career in tech. If you want to get ahead of the pack, I truly believe there is no better way to do so than to either start a career in tech or start a business in tech. In this video, I'll try to break down 3 of the hottest sectors in the tech industry right now and why you should want to work in tech. Now, when people mention they work in tech, the first image that comes across is that of someone who probably programs or someone who codes or does something to do with technology or something really technical. But that isn't always the case. Tech companies are essentially companies who either utilize technology in a large part of the service they provide or provide technology to be used by others. Essentially, tech companies are just companies. So they need all the different types of people with different skills and experience levels that any company really needs to be successful. The main things that you tend to find within tech companies is they need someone who's going to create the product, someone who's going to promote the product, someone who's going to sell the product, someone who's going to maintain the integrity of the product and also improve the product, and someone who's going to deal with customers and answer queries and make sure that the customers that are purchasing are really happy with their service and continue to remain customers. Beyond that, there are various different roles that surround companies. So lots of internal roles, which include things like, HR, finance, office management. All of these things are required by regular companies in order to operate successfully. And it's the same thing with a tech company. They need all of these skills in-house. You don't necessarily need to be someone who's really technical to get into a tech company per se, depending on the role that you're going for. There is literally something for everyone in tech. So if you've got, really great applicable skills for a specific role, maybe from a different industry, never worked in tech, but you've maybe worked in finance or, you've done other things that could be applicable to a role at a tech company, it is the right time to apply because I'll tell you something, the world is going all tech. The biggest companies in the world are now focused on tech, and that's where all the opportunity is right now. The first sector I'll talk about is Saas. Now, Saas stands for Software as a Service. This essentially means that companies who call themselves SaaS companies normally produce a piece of software which either makes it easier to do something or really solves a problem that companies either knew they had or didn't know they had. Same thing with individuals. A great example of some SaaS companies are Salesforce, HubSpot, Canva. All of these companies have created really great products that solve an issue for whoever's using it, and they normally charge via subscription model or a contractual model. The great thing about SaaS is the sheer variety of products that are focused on solving so many different problems. You can find, anything from design tools to sales process automation to project management. Like literally anything you can think of. I think Apple used to have this this marketing phrase, which was there's an app for that. And to be honest, when you look into the SaaS industry, you could literally say there's a SaaS for that. So it's a really interesting industry. It really exposes the people who work within SaaS to lots of other industries, which maybe they may never have come across before, but because they're working in a SaaS company who's selling a product to that industry, they get the opportunity to really interact and understand how other industries work and how other people benefit from using technology within their job roles. Relative to some of the other sectors I'll be talking about today, SaaS has really had some time to develop and mature over the last decade. A lot of SaaS companies have come to the forefront of technology throughout this last decade and have really made an impact on the world. In doing so, a lot of these companies have, inadvertently left behind a playbook which a lot of new upcoming SaaS companies, employees of SaaS companies can really use to grow their business. So it's really, it's really beneficial because when you decide that you want to start a career in SaaS, there are a lot of resources that are available from successful companies and successful individuals who have built really strong SaaS careers. So you can learn from all of these, and it just makes the journey so much more enjoyable and so much easier. SaaS companies tend to be very growth focused. So when they're looking for people, they tend to look for really, energetic, strong, hardworking and focused people who have a nice, strong entrepreneurial mindset. If you really enjoy building something from scratch, enjoy putting in a lot of work and seeing the results straight away, working in SaaS may be for you, because that's exactly what you get. A lot of these companies are on a very fast growth trajectory. They want their team members to be on that same wavelength. And if you are on that same wavelength, if you're hungry, if you are, if you really want to make it and, see the results of your work really fast, then working in SaaS is definitely an option for you. Because of this tenaciousness, a lot of SaaS companies tend to have a really strong sales-led focus, especially those that focus on B2B interactions, meaning that a lot of the vacancies that you tend to come across for SaaS businesses are focused around sales or the commercial aspect of the business. So you tend to find customer success in there, you tend to find marketing in there, but primarily a lot of the roles you probably come across, especially when you're first starting out, is sales development reps, business development managers, account management, account executives. There lots of commercially focused roles available in SaaS because it's all about fast, hard work, and a nice growth trajectory. That's not to say that SaaS companies are very cutthroat, because that's not the truth at all. I've worked for a few SaaS companies, and it varies in between. You get those that are really focused on the work and really want to achieve, but the rewards are worthwhile. Whereas you've also got those who are on the same wavelength, but also consider the day-to-day of the employee, and they provide a lot of perks, a lot of benefits, a lot of employee interaction, ways to make sure that you feel comfortable at work, you enjoy your work, and you don't feel too much under pressure. So don't think of SaaS as being something that is gonna work you into the ground. It is a lot of hard work, but it is worthwhile hard work. You will learn a lot of things by working in SaaS, and you will be introduced to a lot of other industries you may never have been introduced to before. Right, fintech. So fintech. We've all heard the word fintech, and a lot of people don't really understand, what is meant by fintech. But it's very, very simple. A fintech company is essentially a company that focuses on providing financial technology. So they either focus on providing solutions to problems, giving people access to finance, or giving people the ability to be able to easily manage their finance. So fintech companies, that is what they focus on. This is why you tend to find a lot of money-related services such as on-app banking, money transfer services, or maybe even expenses software fall under the fintech umbrella. Now, over the last, I would say probably about 5 years or so, fintechs have picked up phenomenal speed. I'm talking from the perspective of the UK, where we saw the introduction of open banking to really make it easier for companies to utilize the technology that is available to provide even more effective services for consumers. You probably noticed that the traditional high street banking apps all of a sudden started giving you notifications about your balance and the ability to block your card and all of those things. A lot of these innovations were brought about by fintech companies like Monzo, Revolut, Starling, a lot of the other banking apps that you've probably heard of, as well as a lot of the budgeting tools and a lot of the expense tracking software. Fintech is really picking up a lot of phenomenal speed. Nowadays, we see a lot of companies that really focus on pay later, like Klarna, for example, or Pay Send, I think one of the competitors is called. Yeah, fintech is a really exciting space at the moment. Lots of growth, lots of opportunities happening, and it's a great time to really consider a path through fintech if you're very analytical and very numbers focused. The thing I like to say is that if you are able to sit down and really work out things like, let's say, your finances, work out a budget, do all of those things and really enjoy doing those things, then working in fintech would be perfect for you, because it requires you to have an analytical mind to be able to understand things really easily, understand finance really easily, and be able to explain that to whoever you're selling the product onto. Fintech is also laying the path forward for the future. We hear about a lot of these crypto projects or a lot of these trading platforms, commission free, all of those things. They fall under fintech as well, and they are laying the groundwork forward for the future, building effective and useful tools which can be used by people, by companies, to really streamline everything that they're doing at the moment. So fintech is really exciting. It is bursting at the seams of opportunity. If you are interested in finance and you do want to get involved in tech, then fintech may just be the right place for you to go. Just like SaaS companies, fintech do have sales focus roles as well, which tend to be more B2B. However, a lot of their focus is on building their customer base and retaining that customer base. So a lot of the focus tends to go more towards the product development, more towards customer success or customer service, and then also marketing, because they need to attract new customers. Fintech is a little bit different from SaaS in the sense that SaaS is very sales focused and relies on people taking up subscriptions on contracts in order to be successful, whereas fintechs rely on onboarding as many people as possible to the platform. Usually this doesn't have a barrier to entry, so I doubt very many people would sign up for a bank account if you had to pay to initially sign up. Even paid accounts at traditional banks don't necessarily require anything up front. You get charged maybe monthly fees or things like that. But fintechs for individuals tend to have really low barriers to entry because they want to acquire as many customers as possible, and once they do, they want to keep those customers and they want to grow that customer base. So fintech companies are really great because they have a lot of longevity. They provide a tool that becomes a staple to their consumer, meaning the consumer rarely ever leaves. And overall, it's a really exciting space in tech at the moment. So do check out some vacancies for fintechs and let me know what you think. When it comes to e-commerce, the first company that probably pops into your mind the moment I say e-commerce is Amazon. And that is for a very good reason, because over the last 30 years or so, Amazon has really, and I say really, put a lot of effort into making sure that they are the number one e-commerce brand that you think of when you think, I need to buy something online. I am guilty of being an Amazon Prime member for as far back as they probably launched Prime in the UK. I've enjoyed the service. They've added different features and tools over time, and it's worked out pretty great for me. But Amazon isn't the only player in the e-commerce space. There are now lots and lots of players in the space, simply because anything that can be sold online is eventually going to end up being sold online. And for the things that are already sold online, there are better ways to sell it online. It might seem a little bit like, well, if you're selling it online, you're selling it online. But there's a reason why, Shopify has been really successful and Shopify merchants have been successful, even though a lot of them are probably selling the same things that are sold on Amazon. It's just that the user experience may be better. Maybe they have a better service that they provide customers, or maybe they provide a slightly different variation of products. E-commerce is going to grow, and the market is still fairly young, and there's lots and lots of opportunities to be capitalized on. We see in the UK, for example, that in Manchester over the last 5 or 6 years, they've had a phenomenal growth in e-commerce, mainly focused around fashion. So the likes of Boohoo, the likes of the other ones. So as I said, in the last couple of years, we've seen everything from fashion to cars to furniture and even houses being sold online, which is absolutely phenomenal, because 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have thought that any of this was possible. So there is a phenomenal rate of growth within e-commerce, and this is reflective of the fact that consumers are demanding more convenience and the ability to be able to buy anything that they want online. Really, this trend doesn't seem to be slowing down, meaning that e-commerce companies still have a long way to go, and have the opportunity to become as profitable as Amazon has been. And if you know Amazon, or if you follow anything to do with Amazon's stock price, you can see that they have been really, really successful. A lot of e-commerce companies have a very strong B2C focus, meaning that the customer is number one, and the main aim is to make sure that the customer experience is amazing and perfect, and to continue improving that customer experience, because that means that customers are going to keep coming back and keep purchasing products, and keep making money for the business. This makes it a prime space for anyone who is able to work with customers, right? Because just like in physical retail, one of the biggest focuses of e-commerce is that customer service. Customers are now getting in touch with companies using things like web chat, social media, email, and on the odd occasion, a phone call, right? However, if you have been working in, let's say, retail, for example, or hospitality, where you had to deal with customers face to face, address any complaints or any concerns that they may have had about whatever it is, whatever service you're providing, and you were really good at that and you really enjoyed it, then e-commerce is definitely the place for you, because all the skills that you've accumulated in physical retail, I promise you, are very, very relevant in e-commerce. It may not seem so because the items are being sold online, you're not folding anything, you're not stacking shelves or doing anything like that. But when it comes to the customer's interaction with the product and the understanding of the product, you still need to be able to harness those skills that you've gained, because not everyone can do that. So if you do have a history in retail, in hospitality, then look into e-commerce, because you may be able to find the perfect role for you there. There is a lot of competition in the marketplace between e-commerce companies, because everyone is trying to capture as much customer base as possible and keep their customers with them, which represents a great opportunity for you if you're looking for a job in e-commerce. So, keep an eye out. We do post lots of shorts of vacancies that are available at different kinds of companies. And if you see one that is at an e-commerce company, then yeah, definitely feel free to go for it, because the likelihood is that you will really enjoy that role if you're currently, looking to change industries and enter the tech industry. So as you can see, the tech industry has a wide variety of sectors that anyone from any background can really benefit from. The three sectors I've mentioned today are simply just a scratch on the surface of everything to do with tech. There's so many other sectors within the tech industry we haven't explored yet, but we will. And we'll be doing more videos around tech industry, around things like CRMs, if you don't know what that is, around sales processes, around understanding what is required from different job roles. This channel is really going to be focused on getting people to really understand the tech industry, the kinds of jobs are available, the kinds of opportunities they can get from there, and to really get involved in tech. Because as a famous founder once said, I think it was Mark Andreessen of Andreessen Horowitz, which is a huge VC firm in the US. Software is eating up the world. I like to change that and say technology is eating up the world. And it is very true, because everything we do today comes from technology. We use technology for everything, and none of that is going to change. If anything, we're going to become even more immersed in technology. Yeah. All right.